Okay, so hello and good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching me from. In this video we are going to look at how to use background in CSS HTML. Okay, so to begin with, we are not going to write any content here though, but maybe later, but not for now, no content. Our emphasis is going to be on the CSS. Okay, so now I have my body selected, since that's where we are going to apply the style to, and we also see our browser open here. All right, so let me start by saying background. Okay, and you can know that I have my image sitting here. This is my image. Okay, I have my image sitting here, and also the CSS file is linked to the HTML on the line number 7. all right, so let's continue. In order to specify a background for our web page, we go with background and then we specify the color that we want. So we can see that we want red, and when we say red, we go to the browser to refresh and we see that now the background is red. We can also come here and say blue. Okay, whatever color that you want, when you specify here, it works. So what do we do when we want to use an actual image as a background? So this is what we are going to look at in this video. What we do here is now we specify background. Okay, and then there's also another thing that we have to introduce. It is called URL. Okay, the URL is responsible for locating the image from our directory. So URL. Okay, so the URL is responsible for locating the image from the directory. So what's the name of the image is called img. So this directory and then img selected. All right, so now that I've selected this, let us see what we now have in our browser. Refresh. Very good. And now as we refresh, we see that our background exists, but it's not looking the way that we want it to look like. So if I try to zoom it out, we can see that this is the full image, but when I set the zoom to 100%, we see it is looking weird, not the way that we want. So we are going to look at how to style it and how to make it look really good on our screen. All right, so come back to the browser now, come back to the code editor, sorry, and then there's a value called background position. Okay, so background position is simply setting the position for the background. So I'll set the background position to actually let me set it to center. Okay, when it will not fix it at once, but it's a gradual process of fixing. All right, so that's what we are doing now. We have set the background position to center, and when we refresh, we see that this is now what we have. Okay, so it has changed. It is now looking better, but not what we want. So we also have another thing called background size. Okay, and we set the background size to, let me set it to cover, so that it covers the whole screen. And then let's refresh. So refreshing, this is how now it looks like, though it is not looking bad, but this is not what we want. So we have to also do another thing again, and we can see clearly that it is repeating itself. Okay, you can see this line here that is repeating, starting from the top and also repeating it here, which is not what we want. So we want to stop the image from repeating itself, and how we do that is by using another property called background repeat. So background repeat, we set the repeat to no repeat. When we set the repeat to no repeat, it's not going to repeat itself anymore. So we refresh it right now after some time, and this is what we have. Okay, but for us to be able to see the image cover the whole screen, we need to specify a height for the image so that we can get what we want. So I come here and I specify a height, and I give it 100 view height. The view height is a unit of measurement in CSS that will set the height to the, let me see, it will set 100% of the height to whatever screen that the person is using. So how we see it on desktop is going to be the same in mobile, tablet, Any other device is going to have the same height. When you set it to view height, it is going to be applied to the view of the user's screen, irrespective of the device. All right, so now that we have set it, let's refresh, and when we refresh, we can see that now the background is filling the whole screen. All right, so basically this is something small about using background image in your project. All right, and this is very small thing that I want to show you. But of course, there are some times that you don't want your image to fill the whole screen, but you want your image to fill a particular portion of your image. If that is the case, then you have to come here and specify your height, maybe 400 pixels. When you specify 400 pixels, that is exactly the size that the image is going to take. All right, that is exactly what the image is going to take. All right, but for now it is not going to be applied here based on some of the things that we've specified here. So but background, what we did here is when you want your background to fill the whole screen. All right, when you want it to fill the whole screen, you go by this way. And what we are going to do next is what actually I wanted to do. So let me come here and set and give a div and call it demo. This is where we are going to apply the background. Okay, so for now I am going to comment this out. When we refresh, it's gone. So I am going to come back here and select the demo. Selecting the demo, I am going to say that okay, the demo will have a background. I hope you are aware of this demo. All right, this demo is this element. So the demo is going to have a background of URL, which is equal to the img we have in the directory. Okay, so go to the browser to refresh. We see that one also there. All right, it's also there. Why are we not seeing it? Very good. We are not seeing this because we don't have the height specified. So let's specify the height to maybe 400 pixels, and then we come back to refresh and we see it in action. Very good. So you see now the image is there, filling the height of 400 pixels, but you can see that we can't even see the image. It's not even shown. So we are going to work around it to fix it. All right, so we say that background size is let us use cover. I like the cover, but you can of course try the value contain yourself to see how it will behave for you. Okay, but cover seems good for me. You can set this one to cover and let's refresh. Setting to cover, look at what happened. Right now we are seeing it looking good, but you see not all the portion of the image is visible. We can only see the top part of the leaf and other side are not appearing. So let me come back and say background position, and then I set the position to center so that now the image will come to the center. Let's refresh. All right, now the image is now at the center of the screen, and of course we are not going to see everything. This is what we are going to see. The center of the image will be visible, and this is what we are all looking at right now. So we can introduce some text in between at the center of the image. Okay, and it's also simple. We have to just come to the CSS and give some h1 content of hello world. Okay, so the hello world is now inside. We refresh and you see the hello world. All right, now the hello world is here. So we are going to use positions. All right, positions to simply center this element, move it at the center of this image. We can also use flexbox to do it, but let's do it with position. So to do it, we first have to specify position relative for the parent, and then we set the position absolute for the child. All right, so we come here. This is the demo. We give the parent, which is the demo, position of relative, and then we come down to select the child, which is h1. Since it's only one h1 that we have and don't have any other, we will simply call the tag name, since it's not going to bring any confusion. So we call this one and give this one position of absolute. Okay, so that since this one is position relative, the child is going to be aligned inside this parent. The parent is going to be like a boundary for the H1, so the H1 can never move out of the demo, which is the image we are seeing here. All right, okay, so right now let's start with positioning. So I said, okay, the top part is 50%, so it will now have to move 50% of the top, that is somewhere here. Okay, and then we also have to come and then specify the left to 50%. Is it going to be right or left? Okay, let's check. Now this is what we have. I want to also give it a color of white, so color of white, yeah, sure, color of white. And this is what we are seeing now. It has a color of white, but you can see it's not properly sitting, so let's adjust it. We can easily use the transform property to make it look good. All right, so for now let's use the transform. So transform, translate, transform, and then use the translate. We set this one to negative 50%, negative 50%, negative 50%, and this one will do the magic. Let's refresh. All right, so you see what now we have. It is perfectly sitting at the center of the screen. All right, so this is how to give a background to your element in HTML, and at the same time use the relative and then the absolute positions to also position your items, your content in whichever way you want. You can also put it to the left side, you can put it to the right side. Okay, it can come here, it can come here, but I will not be doing that because we have already done that. And you can go back to the playlist, search for positions, absolute, relative, fixed. We have done all in this channel, so make sure to go back and check if in case you don't have the concept clear. But at the moment, this is where I will end the lecture. Thank you so much, and see you in the next lecture.